So this morning I wanted to speak a little bit about those of you who are very familiar with the inner refuge practices. So, and you know exactly what it means to connect and where we are guiding the practices is working quite okay, right? There are ups and downs. There are days works better than other days, but more or less it's fine, right? Let's say there are situations many times in our life people say, I can't do practice. I can't do practice. So I'm not doing practice. Or instead of saying what I can do now, little things in order to do what I know to do, in order to do what I know what to do. That makes sense? Because people will say something, oh, I cannot do practices now. Why? Because I'm going through a divorce. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense, right? When you're going through a divorce, you need to intensify your practice maybe at least 5 times more. Right? If you're doing 1 hour a day, then when you're going through a divorce, you have to do 5 hours a day. Or I cannot do practice anymore because I'm sick. Same situation. So if your whole life, if you're doing practices, now if you cannot bring in the moment you're sick, so what are you doing in practice? Or I cannot do practice because I'm going through a lot of emotional crisis. So all the retreat that you have done in the past, if not helping while you're going through emotional crisis, then what is the purpose of doing all the retreats? Or even very severe situation, people could say something like, I can understand, like my mind is deteriorating now. I cannot remember much, or I cannot focus much. So I cannot do practice. My brain is not working, so I cannot do practice. Still, not good enough reason. You have to prepare to do a practice without a brain. So at least you have one which is not working that well right now. So while you have a brain, you are doing practices in order to do the practice when the brain will deteriorate. And you are doing practices when brain is deteriorating in order to do the practice when there is no brain at all. But if you're not taking that as a transition, then what is the purpose of doing it all? Everything what we do in terms of the practices is we're not trying just to do as a part of a holiday, right? I mean, you can look at part of a holiday, that's fine too. But we're trying to do the practices in a way when the challenges comes, we are somewhere we are ready for those moments. That's what we're trying to do. And that's what I think I was talking yesterday that, people, the guy that I was talking, I would say, give a two-page of list. The list, the challenges that you wanted to work on and challenges that you don't want to work on. Page number 1, challenges that I choose to work on. Page number 2, challenges that I will not work on. And knowing that particular person, I have no doubt my recommendation to that person was just destroy the page 1. Just go with page 2. Because I know that person is stuck between the page 1 and 2, not 1 year, not one retreat. Years of life, it's stuck between the page 1 and 2. Because this person did not want to touch at all page 2. Because it believes, maybe even it's not believe, it's not conscious at all, that the page 2 is what one really needed to work on. Why I'm not working with the page 2? Because I'm afraid. Why I'm not working with the page 2? Because I feel I will fail. Why I'm not working with the page 2? Because I don't think I'm able to. Why I'm not working with the page 2? I don't like to visit those areas. I'm afraid to visit those areas. The last list in the page number 1 is, I think, it's more my comfort zone of working. But that's too comfortable. Too comfortable. I'm not saying everybody is the same. I'm not saying everybody. The person that I have in my mind, clearly that's what I feel. And some people, there are a lot of people in page 1, there is a lot of things enough in page 1. So I'm not saying you have to jump to the page 2. That won't be my recommendation, but that particular person, that is my recommendation. So I'm not, basically believes that I don't have a capacity to do it. So I think it's very important in terms of the practices to know the practices that we are doing now. It's to do practices a moment of challenges and the most difficult challenges, not only like emotional challenges. Sometimes many emotional challenges, I know like it's not a very compassionate thing to say, but it seems like it's a luxury problem. I know like sometime when I first time came to West, I saw some emotional problems. And I thought, what? This is a luxury problem, you know. You know, when you don't have a problem, then you create problem out of these things. When you really have a problem, then you've said, this is nothing. You forget. This is a wonderful thing you have. Like all the problems with your job. If you don't have a job, and looking for 10 years to find a job, and not finding one, you can call it problem because you have difficult to pay bills. They are a problem. But then we create a lot of luxury problems in our life. Sometimes, as I always give example, you can think about window problems. You can think about floor problems. When the roof is gone, you will not have a problem with the window. You will not have problem with the floors. Because why? Now you have a big problem. So you don't want to wait in life to have a big problem as a solution of small problems, you know. Because they will come. Unfortunately, they will come. So while there's just little problems, it's okay to not make big deal out of them. So what I'm saying here is, instead of saying, I can't do the practice, the question is, what I can do. And that's the question one should ask. I can understand, probably none of us in that situation here, probably. But I know sometimes there are people in that kind of situation, and you have to kind of understand, you know. Somebody's brain is not working, almost not working. You can say, I cannot do anymore anything. That's not the question you should ask. You should say, what I can do this moment? Or I'm losing memory. What I can do now? Before you go to sleep, those who do dream yoga practices, before you go to sleep, you know we're going to lose the awakened conscious awareness before we go to sleep. But we don't say we're going to stop practicing. We say, how I go to sleep becomes a very important question. When I lose my awareness, what is the last moment of losing my awareness becomes a very important question. It's not a question about not losing, because that's not an option you have. You don't have an option. You have to lose it. The question is how you lose it. On what point you want to lose it. Where your attention should be when you lose it. That is the work. So I think it's very important to, to able to really bring your practice, and practices should become very alive, much more alive than on the cushion during those challenging moments in your life. I think that is the goal. That is a very clearly goal. I mean, that's what we are doing practice here, right?